Hello, good morning. Welcome to the Coffee Run Live episode 202. We are 203, sorry. We are powering through all the things that are supremely awesome, which is helping you, hints, tips, and advice with your social media, your visibility, your marketing, your business, everything that is required for you to have a really successful, outstanding, and amazingly fun and fabulous marketing over you. Good morning. Who's joining me? We've had some very interesting things. I'm just sharing this over to my profile. We've had some really interesting kind of happenings in here. It's like, I'm not sure if it's a more recent Facebook page update. I know there's been some of those happening recently, but also it's kind of, it's a little bit interesting in the sense that I couldn't see some of those comments that went up yesterday. I don't really know why. Hey, Marie. Happy Thursday. Thanks for coming on. Thanks for saying hey. It's so nice when you guys say hello. I really very, very much like it. So what I was wanting to talk about today is all of the things. So that's right. So what I wanted to share with you is a little bit about, I guess, one of the ways that I like to think about the way that we can create programs, offers, things like that, and some of the ways that we can be inspired, some of the ways that we can, I guess, tap into those things within us and start talking and promoting and stuff like that. So I guess one of the things that I think about whenever I'm looking at doing something new or launching a new program like Bold, or whether it's something different, these days what I really love to do, and what I always have actually in the back of my mind somewhere along the way, is that there's always an intention that's been set that I'm going to have a really great idea. Right? That I'm going to think of something that is cool and fun and transformational and whatever else. So the thinking around that, I guess, is that I always assume that I'm going to be presented, or a new idea is going to come at me. Now, and that happens every time. Like it always happens. I get these really great new ideas and it's like, yeah, okay. Like some of them are a little bit like, I'm not really sure about that. I don't think that's going to fly. And then those ideas obviously get shelved. Even like sometimes the ideas that you'll have will like jazz you for maybe a day. And then you'll be like, oh, this feels like fucking hard work. It feels like pushing shit uphill. It feels like it's just really hard and whatever else. So I suppose the first and foremost, in terms of coming up with a free thing or an offer or a program or a marketing idea or anything like that, is to set the intention that something really amazing is going to come out of you. And then the other thing that I wanted to, and I was talking with a client about this yesterday, who's in Bold, we were talking about, she said, what is it that I'm going to create? I've always done things in this particular way and always sold these types of things, or I've always been involved in this type of thing. She's like, now it's completely different because now I'm getting out there and I'm selling me. I'm not selling a product. I'm not selling somebody else's service. I'm not selling a widget. She's actually having to now, well, she will be selling herself. And she's like, I just don't know what it is that I want to do. I don't know what it is that I want to create. I don't know how it is that I want to run that. Am I going to do it in a Facebook group? Am I going to have to create a membership site? Blah, 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 blah. I've just got, hold up. Hold up for just a second. And I guess this is where we as high achievers, as people who like to go, oh yeah, this is how it's going to work. This is how it's going to make money. This is how it's going to play out. This is how we're going to reach the people. We tend to look for certainty in the how. We tend to look for certainty in the implementation. We tend to look for certainty in trying to control an outcome. And one of the best things, let me just turn the volume down on my laptop so it doesn't start beeping. I get so many emails, you guys. It's just not even really funny. It's actually annoying. Annoyingly awesome. Anyway, so like we tend to look for certainty. And the way that we'll often do that is by going straight into how is that going to play out. When what we need to do first and foremost, in my opinion, is to really start with a strong foundation. So I was chatting with another lady today, another client, a one-on-one client of mine actually, who has got more certifications, more degrees, more diplomas, more experience than anyone I have ever met. This woman is a freaking rock star, not only in terms of the qualifications that she has, but also in terms of the work that she's doing. She's just freaking badass. And one of the conversations that we were having, she's gone, well, I've got this thing that I want to be doing, and she wants to run this midweek workshop. And she said, so, you know, how do I advertise that? How do I promote that? And I said, well, hang on a second, let's just calm back. Because again, like the thing that we normally do is like, okay, this is the thing, right? How do I make this happen? And often we jump into the how and we miss the kind of the creative process that can happen in between times that gives us all of those other steps. So it's almost like we need to kind of drag ourselves back. And what I like about this is that it actually creates the space for your creativity to come out, for your creativity to flow. And I suppose in that sense, it makes it easier for your advertising to then be done. It makes it easier for your copywriting to be done, your marketing. This will often spark ideas that you wouldn't have had in terms of perhaps creating free things that could be used in order to sort of like funnel people into whatever it is that you're looking at doing. So what I said to her is like, we've really got to create the foundation first. So talk to me about who this person is. Like, can you think of someone who you'd really, really love in this workshop? And she's like, yep, this is who it is. And she just started talking about this person. And I'm like, okay, wow, this is really powerful. And I said to her, so how are you thinking about advertising to get this person in? She's like, well, I can talk about come along to this workshop and you will get rah, rah, rah. I said, okay. And she said, like, you know, I can say if you've been feeling like la, la, la. And I've gone, okay, yep, that's certainly a way of doing it. And I suppose this is the way that we always used to market. So back in 2010, when I started this particular business, the way that we would write our marketing material would be along the lines of, if you've been feeling overwhelmed, if you've been feeling frustrated, if you've been feeling stressed, overwhelmed, tired, anxious, uncreative, pressured, whatever it might be, bored, overweight, fat, lethargic, uninspired, all of those pain-driven words, right? What we then tended to do was go, all right, let's have a look at so we write all of those down. So if you're a typical way of doing that would be if you're a woman who feels like blah, 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 blah. Right, so we've got that pain side over here, like, and I think this is mirrored. So this would be on the left-hand side of a page, for instance. And then on the right, we'd say, and you want to feel, or the outcome that you want. And so this would happen in our heads, right? This is not necessarily exactly how you would write a post. But if you want to feel pumped, happy, motivated, strong, on fire, fit, healthy, ripped, toned, energetic, creative, aligned, jazzed, excited, free, like you've got choices, right? So we'd have, if you're a woman who, like sad face, and you want to feel like yay, right? So we're moving them from pain to pleasure, and then we'd give them a call to action. And so what that would look like is if you're feeling sad, flat, demotivated, and you want to find creativity so you can get more clients and experience ultimate freedom in your world, then you've got to do this, right? So you'd give them a call to action and then have them click a link. So the call to action would be, if this is how you want to feel, and there are 3 steps I put together this free guide, you can just click here and download it, bang, right? Now that worked. And it worked, that kind of writing and that style of posts worked for a really, really long time. But then what happened, and you guys probably have seen this play out as well, is that it becomes a lot more common, right? It's like anything. We start to see things play out, and as people catch on and they're like, that looks like it must be working, let's write like that, let's do some things like that must be the way that things are going these days, because look at all the comments they're getting, or look at all the things that are happening, and so on and so forth. And so what happens is that everybody starts writing in the same way, and then that thing that made you stand out no longer has you standing out, and it's all just a little bit same, boring, right? So what I would suggest is that rather than writing out a framework, rather than working within a framework, so to speak, why don't you think of some ways that connect with the person? So I've spoken a little bit about the voice and the fact that we watch this at night at the moment with our kids, and we're sitting on the couch and we're looking at all the things, and I love hearing the comments that the judges make or the coaches make. And so we've got Boy George, Delta Goodrum, Guy Sebastian, and Kelly Rollins. And I listen to the way, and I look for the things that might make them turn. And the overwhelming thing that they say over and over again is about how that person that's singing and performing really connected with the song, and how that person is able to connect then and create emotion and move the audience being the coaches. And there was one instance where this young girl sang, I think it's a Sarah McLachlan song, is it like the Voice of the Angels or something, like I can't think of the title, but it's just the most, like, oh my gosh, the most emotional song on the planet. And it's just, I find it so hauntingly beautiful. And this girl who was maybe 13 or 15 sang it, and you could almost hear like her, well, you did hear like her voice at one point, just like it almost cracked with the emotion in which she was singing. And that was the point, the bang, one of the coaches turned their chair. I think it might have been Guy. And, that was the point where people, arms of an angel. Thank you, Michelle. I couldn't quite get it. Isn't it just, it's just beautiful, right? But what's really important, and the lesson here that I think is crucial for all of us as the marketers of ourselves, as the marketers of our businesses, as the marketers of whatever it is that we're doing, we've got to be able to create a connection with people. And the best way to be able to do that is to kind of step into their shoes and imagine what it must be like and what they must be feeling in those moments. And sometimes it's going to be joy, and sometimes it's going to be pain, and sometimes it's going to be frustration, and sometimes it's going to be anxiety, and sometimes they just need a swift kick up the motherfucking ass in order to be able to get moving and do things and whatever else and move forward. But our job is to, number one, move people on an emotional level and then get them doing something different. And so with your marketing, with your offers, with your programs, with anything that you're doing, like that's the thing to be looking for. So the second piece of all of this is to go, okay, so if that's the case, then what is the easiest way? And easy is okay, right? There's a bit of a thing, a bit of a pattern, a bit of a belief maybe that, hey Kylie, that perhaps marketing needs to be hard, that marketing yourself is like this big complex thing, which it can be, right? If we're looking at the tech side of things, can be intricate and frustrating and whatever, but I'm not talking about the automation side. I'm not talking about the tech side. I'm talking about the pieces that make you visible, the stuff that has you being able to stand out, the stuff that has you being seen, the stuff that has you being heard, and like a dog whistle that can only be heard by dogs, your message that gets created is only heard by the people who are ready to hear it and who need to hear it, and then they resonate with you at that level of frequency, and that's where the power comes in, right? So easy is okay. What is the easiest way for you to be able to create that thing in order for you to get your message out there. It might be about writing a letter to the person, like from here, not a strategic letter like, hi. It's not like a real estate letterbox drop letter. It's like, we're currently doing free appraisals in your street. Would you like to access one? This expires on Friday. It's like, that's bullshit. Sorry, that's like a to the homeowner letter. That's not going to cut it. Like, this is not a to the homeowner letter. This is a letter that you would write perhaps to someone who's died that you miss terribly. Maybe it's about writing a letter to the you of 2 years ago, reminding you that you've got this, that you're okay, that you can get through anything, that you're resilient, that you're brave, that you're awesome, that you're amazing, that you're stronger than you know, that the tide is going to turn, to just keep going and to fully trust in yourself. Maybe it's a letter to your mum or your dad or your son or your daughters, or to your best friend, or to like a breakup. Maybe it's a breakup letter. What would be something that would help you to write to the person that you want to be able to connect with? And this is what marketing's about. Maybe it's about writing a poem. The manifesto for the brave and the bold that I wrote the other day, that is really similar to one of the, it's actually, the writing is not similar. The style is similar to a campaign that I did in 2014 that generated thousands of email leads. So thousands of people gave me their information in exchange for this. I called it the Rich Bitch Guide to Having It All. But it was this big this big piece of writing that's like, you're not always going to feel motivated. You're not always going to feel like you're on top of the world. And it was long. And like it came up with, this is what you need to do, and this is how you need to feel, and this is what you can activate. So it was a really sort of motivational piece of writing. And, maybe it's something like that. Maybe you can write songs. Maybe you're a poem writer. What is the easiest way? Initially, like if you think about writing, what's the easiest way for you to get the words out of you? Now, this takes time, right? And space. This is not something, I don't think, that you can just sit and punch out in 5 minutes. It's not like, hey, all right, I'm going to schedule 15 minutes in my calendar to go and do a really emotional piece of writing. I don't think, in my experience and from working with clients for more than 10 years, I don't think that's something that happens. Like it requires space and time for you to be able to, number one, get into the emotion of that person, and then start to write to them if you're going to write. And then the other piece is, maybe speaking is easier for you. So it might be that you jump on a live stream and you start talking to them, you start motivating, inspiring, guiding, kicking their ass, whatever it might be, and doing things in that way. Maybe you're really great at art, and you have this ability to create images and imagery that makes people cry, or makes people feel happy, or whatever it is. But the point here is that we've got to find a way to be able to move people, to be able to connect with them emotionally, so that they feel understood, so that they feel like, oh wow, like this person is really someone that I need to pay attention to, and that I really need to listen to. So that way, the way that you write that could be really long, or it could be really short. It's not about the amount of words. It's not about having to sing for 2.5 minutes, or it's not about trying to get your words out in 30 seconds. It's as long as it needs to be for you to really be able to capture the imagination and the feeling and the heart of those people who are following you. It's really crucial, actually. So that's that. And in the easiest way possible for you, obviously. Or not obviously, but do it in the easiest way possible, and that's okay. Like, it's actually really great trying to find a hack that works for you in order for you to be able to get this out, because we're not ever taught how to do this. No one teaches us how to do this in school or university or in a business degree or in a marketing degree even. Nobody teaches us how to do this. Nobody teaches us how to relate. people always go, well, what's the demographic of the person and how old are they and where do they live and, you know, what are their big problems? And, you know, not that that's not valid and it's an important part, but if you really want to stand out, then we've got to move people. Because everybody, like many people are talented. Many people have a really great message, but for you to really powerfully stand out, then yeah, I don't need to say that again. So that's that. The other thing that I wanted to just share with you a bit off the back of this conversation, one of the conversations I was having yesterday is around courses or offers and things like that, and creating from that place and what it is that you want to create. So I think the best thing that I can suggest to you guys, if you're thinking about creating a course or a program, whether it's in person or online, it doesn't really matter, or some kind of offer that you're either going to give away for free in exchange for someone's information, or if you're going to, maybe it's a course that you want to sell or something like that. One of the best things that I can suggest that you do is block out all of the noise. Don't worry about what anyone else in your industry is doing. Don't worry about high ticket this, low ticket that, ascension model this, you know, blah, 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 blah. It's all a bunch of marketing coaching jargon that it's not untrue, but it can be really freaking confusing when you're trying to decide and work out, well, you know, what is it that you're going to sell, promote from here on out. So the best thing that I can suggest that you do, again, with this journaling thing, is to grab out your journal and ask yourself, what is, you know, if I was doing this solely for the love of it. Now, I know that you're not just doing this solely for the love of it. You are doing this to make money because you're a business owner, you're an entrepreneur, and the very definition of that means that you have to make money. Otherwise, you're running a charity, and even charities make money. You're doing it as a hobby, or you're doing it just because you're very benevolent and generous, which, you know, if that's you, more power to you. I'm in business to make money. I'm in business to make a profit, and I'm sure that you are as well, because you are then able to create the space for choices for yourself, for your family, for the causes that you're passionate about, for the charities of choice that you want to give and create and create space for, money for, whatever it is. We're in business to make money. So let's just, you know, call a spade a spade. I don't care whether you're a life coach, whether you're a psychologist, whether you're an artist, whether you're a graphic designer, whether you're a lawyer, whatever it is, you're in it to make money, right? Let's just lay that out on the table. And anyone who says, oh, I'm just in it to help the people, I call bullshit. Unless you've got multi-millions of dollars sitting in your bank account and you really are just genuinely doing it just for the love, then that's awesome, you know, more power to you. But for like 99.99999% of people that I've worked with, they all need to make money. So that's just that, and that's okay. And we need to stop with feeling bad about that, or feel bad about asking for sales or asking for money in exchange for what it is that we do, right? So just put that there. Apparently I'm opinionated about that. So in terms of the courses and stuff that you want to create, the first thing that I want you to think about is not about how am I going to make an extra $10,000 this month, or how am I going to make an extra $100,000 this month, or, you know, whatever the number is. How about we come back to what is the most fun, powerful thing that I could create right now? And if you can't think of something like that, come back to this person and go, all right, let's call them, let's give them a name. Let's say that their name is Danny. And it's like, okay, so I'm thinking about Danny. I've got a picture of Danny Minogue in my head because I just saw a thing in my news feed on her. So Danny Minogue, if I'm creating this thing for Danny Minogue, how is she feeling? What is she doing? All of this, that, and the other. You know, what do I feel like she feels like she really needs, right? So there's a bit of assumption going on. And it might be that we go, all right, like this is how she's feeling, this is what she's doing, this is what she's noticing, and really kind of get into that. And then in the back of your mind, we're always thinking, and it's not necessarily always a conscious choice, just set the intention that it'll flow out. That, well, what is it that, you know, what can I do to really help her? What can I do to really help him? And then something will just go blur, and it might be, oh my gosh, I need to like get them into a 2-day workshop, or I've got to do something that teaches them, helps them, shows them, guides them, mentors them in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, so I've got those 5 things there. Cool. What's the best way that I could deliver that? What is the most fun for me? What's the most fun way for me to deliver that? What is the most easiest way for me to deliver that? And how do I want to do that? And then you might decide to deliver that thing over 5 days, 5 months, 5 weeks, 5 hours, 5 minutes, whatever it is. It might be in a 5-part video training series that you give away for free. Could be anything. So then you've got that bit, and then it's like, okay, cool. So how much am I going to sell that for? Like, what would I be really happy with? What number feels right? And sometimes it might come in at, wow, you know what? I can't do this for any less than 10 grand. Like, that would be ludicrous to even ask for anything less than 10 grand. Other times it might be like, I couldn't ask for anything less than $100. Like $100 is just the number, that's just what it needs to be. Or $500 or anything in between, or $1 million, or whatever the number is. So rather than starting it from that place of, like, we all know that we need to make money, we all know that we need to breathe, we all know that we need to eat, we all know that we need to drink water. It's not something that we need to set an intention for. It's just something that has to happen as a byproduct of being alive and breathing, right? So instead of going in, right, I need to make $10,000 this month, how am I going to do that? Flick it around, and then that's a really awesome way for you to create things that are in alignment, that you're going to be really excited, passionate, pumped, and jazzed about talking about throughout the period of you launching whatever it is that you launch and however it is that you decide to launch that. So I think that way, from what I've noticed for myself and for other people that do it in this way, everything still rolls up into your area of expertise, right? That's kind of a given. Like, I'm not going to try and sell something on how to be a healthy person, because I don't have a health coaching certification for a start. I'm not a nutritionist. I'm not a dietitian. I might throw little things out there at different times. Like saying, I'm for the most part, I eat kind of like a mix between paleo and keto. I'm sugar-free for the majority of the time. I drink bulletproof coffee. I don't do dairy. I miss cheese sometimes. I'm really bad with that. So there are exceptions. So I'm not going to go out and say, hey guys, like, I'm going to give you a 5-day health blitz, because that is not what my area of expertise or mastery is in. I might share little things that have worked, but it's not my area of expertise and mastery. So there is that, stay in your lane and have everything kind of like rolling up into the overarching things. So for instance, I'm promoting Bold at the moment, which talks about everything actually that we've been talking about today, but in a deeper level and a bit more strategically. So like Bold ties up into you being visible. It ties up into you standing out online. It ties into confidence, knowledge, your mindset, tapping into the audience that you really want to work with and getting into their hearts, minds, and souls. It talks into you really building your own intellectual property. You're really owning that freaking, I'm a badass rock star sort of energy when you come on stage, which is, you showing up on social media. So Bold ties into everything that I've been talking about all the time, which is about being visible online and then using that to leverage into sales, into profits, and obviously that means that you've been getting clients. So where I'm going with that is like what you're selling it has to roll up into what your overall focus is or your overall thing is for how you help people and for what you do. Otherwise, it can kind of get a little bit sketchy and you probably won't make any sales. So I trust that makes sense. So if you have any questions about that, let me know. I would really very much love to answer them for you, because, that's what these are all about. It's really interesting. I don't know where all the people are at today. It's a Thursday morning over here in the land of Oz. I think, Michelle, you're over in the States, I think, right? So what is it in there? Is it about 7 o'clock? 7 o'clock for you? Not sure where you are. So I think you were putting kids to bed the other day when we were on at about 11. It's really weird. You know what I find really fascinating at the moment is how some days you can have like 25, 30 people on live at any given time, and then another day there's 2. It's really strange and really bizarre. Oh, that was the other thing that I wanted to say to you. So that's interesting. So, okay, cool. So when I was talking to this lady yesterday, one of our new bold ladies, Sarah. Oh, it's England. Oh, hey, it's about 2 a.m. Oh my gosh. I've been invited to speak in London in November at a forum with the Women's Economic Forum in London in November. So I was thinking about doing a 2-day boot camp or something like that over there while I'm there. So I'll share more of that with you guys over the upcoming months. Yeah, London is amazing. I was over a few years ago actually, and we ran a 1-dayer, which was really fun. But yeah, so exciting. I'll be in your neck of the woods. Which would be good. So anyway, what I was saying is that one of the ladies I was talking to yesterday, where I said to her, and this is, okay, you guys know, and and if you don't know, you're about to know, it's a really common thing in coaching to say things like what we see in others is what we want for ourselves, or something that we have access to within us. And so I asked this lady, Sarah, yesterday, I said, what is it? What was it? She's been following me for years and years and years and years and years. Like literally, I think since at least perhaps 2015, I feel like maybe even 2014. I could be wrong. So it could be 4 or 5 years. And I said, what is it? What is it? And I said, I'm not looking for your compliments, although that's lovely. But I'm really curious to know what it is that you see in me and my stuff that you like. And she said, well, the consistency is really important. Like she said, like you just show up every day. I'm like, yeah, I do. So I want you to think about this strategically for a sec. So she said, showing up consistently, being you. She said, I've seen you on TV, I've seen you in articles, I've seen you everywhere, and no matter what, you're still you. Like you're still, personable, human, you still seem very like authentically you. She said about the energy that I bring and things like that. So I've said to her, excellent. What I love about this is, it was lovely to hear, but it wasn't about me that I was asking the question for. I said, if that's something that you see that you've liked, then that's something that you want to be able to bring in for your own business as well, right? Thank you, Michelle. I try to, I've been doing it for a long time, right? And yeah, I think it's really important. I think authenticity is crucial and critical. Integrity is crucial and critical. And, just being you in all of who you are is absolutely necessary, particularly in a world where every man and his dog is a freaking expert and life coach and, blah, blah, blah. So, I think it's important for us to be really who we are and use that to kind of cut through like a hot knife through butter. Anyway, I digress. So what I said to her is like, all right, well, if you've admired consistency, then what do you need to do in order for you to show up consistently? Because if the way that I've shown up consistently has resonated with you, the people, when you start practicing consistency, your audience is going to resonate with your consistency. If you're appreciating like straight talk, no bullshit, no fluff, yes, I can speak for a lot of words, but it's like I use lots of metaphors and whatever else there is all the words, but there is no bullshit. It's like I'll tell it like it is. If I think you're full of shit, I'll let you know. Like Theo yesterday on the live stream, I didn't see his comment until after I was going in and responding to all the comments. I'm like, dude, you're full of shit. Like you're contradicting yourself here. This makes no sense. So called him out on that. but I guess where I'm going with that is like, if authenticity is important to you and the people that you follow, then how can you show up in the best, most authentic way in your marketing? If you really like the fact that, you know, I answer, like I jump in and I respond at the end of this live stream, I'll go in and I will respond to all of your comments. You know, that's not actually strictly true. If I think that you are someone who, like there are some, it happens, right? Where there's some men who will jump in and comment and I'm not going to respond to those. Like if it's just about if it's not actually related to what we're talking about, I tend to just, you know, I just don't even, it's just irritating. Good for engagement, but not like, anyway, you guys get what I mean. So if that's something that you like and admire, then emulate that in your own business. If you like the fact that I'm almost like, if you think about it like the music industry, I'm releasing new singles, which are new programs, you know, every few weeks. If you like that, then do that for yourself. If you like the fact, you know, going back from literally from 2012 through to the middle of last year being 2018, I ran 8-week programs. You know, pretty much every 8 weeks, there'd be a new program, a new round of the training start. So I ran the same training for years, every 8 weeks, same training, and I just kept putting people through that. It meant that my marketing was consistent every week, every day, every week, every month, every year. You know, and I mastered the art of teaching all of that, the tech stuff and everything else. If that's something that you see in someone else and you love, then, you know, give it a whirl in your own business. If you love the fact that, you know, some people are touring the country or the world speaking on stage and that's what you want, then look at ways that you can create that. So take note of what you're admiring in other people. I first learned this when I trained to be a style and branding coach in 2010. And it was the start of this iteration of this business. And I remember one of the things was that one of the activities that we had to do was looking at photos of people and kind of categorizing the types of style that we thought that they had. So glamorous, sexy, edgy, funky, stylish, you know, whatever the language was, like relaxed, casual, that type of thing. And the ones that we resonated with the most ended up having the most ticks in the thing. And the teaching was that if, like, say, stylish, for instance, was the one that you marked the most and you identified the most with from the images that you saw, then that's what you want to look for when you go and try something on. It's like, does this make me feel stylish? You know, bam, or whatever the word was for you. So it's interesting how what we notice and what we see in others is really, really what it is that we want to create and do for ourselves. So there's a part of our brain called our RAS, and that's the thing that we're looking for people out there who are like us. We're looking for things out there that we resonate with and stuff like that. Michelle, if I'm not qualified in weight loss, but I have a ton of experience with food and diets, but I also promote a product that fits with what I do. Okay, I don't want to be pushing in sales. Don't want the backlash. Okay, that's a really good question. So how should you market yourself in that instance? So we've been chatting, like offline, outside of here, like in the chat. And I think I'm just going to make some assumptions from what I think you're doing without mentioning it specifically. So for people who are involved in, I think you mentioned the other day, multi-level marketing and stuff like that. The thing that we want to do is kind of almost have the product that you're selling. And it's actually the same if you're a coach, a life coach, business coach, entrepreneur, artist, lawyer, doctor, whatever you're selling, pharmacist, nutritionist, diet coach, psychologist, like any of the above. It's almost like the thing that you're selling becomes part of your marketing versus being the whole thing. So really, essentially, if, for instance, if I had a product that, let's say that I was selling bulletproof coffee, right? Which I'm not, but let's say that I was. And what I would be talking a lot about is about healthy lifestyle. I'd be talking about movement. I would be talking about mindset. I'd be talking about discipline. I'd be talking about self-sabotage. I'd be talking about integrating changes in your family. I would be talking about motivation, inspiration. I would be sharing my story about why I chose to start eating in the way that I eat. So I'm, like I said to you guys earlier, I'm pretty much grain-free, dairy-free, sugar-free, free of all gluten-free, like free of all of the things, free of essentially mostly processed food. I do slip, so, that's, let's just put that right out there. So for me, I would be sharing all of the other facets, and I talk about this in my book actually, when I teach and talk about the disco ball, and I've talked about it a lot over the years, where some things will resonate with some people and some things will resonate with other people. So it's just looking for ways of you being able to bring people in. And the other really great thing about that is if you're talking about almost like the whole of life stuff versus just saying, you should drink bulletproof coffee. It's like really fucking awesome. It tastes really great. It's really healthy for you. It's dairy-free, gluten-free, blah, 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 blah. It gives you a hit of protein. It's a really good fat. It's slow burning. You're going to have energy. You're not going to have the 3 o'clock sugar dip, blah, 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 blah. Then if bulletproof coffee happened to go under, right? Or if for some reason I got booted out of that company or the license agreement fell over, I would still be able to have a group of people that I could still continue the conversation around, perhaps less about the selling of the product and more about, and it might be where you do go and get qualified, for instance, as a health coach or something like that to back it up, more as perhaps of a safety net. You don't have to, it's just a suggestion. So that you've got that ability to be able to just kind of like drop that, in this instance, like drop the bulletproof coffee conversation and just start talk more about balance. And then it's almost like becoming a mentor for people who do want the discipline, the accountability. Like that's really what people are buying. People really need and are missing in many areas. They're missing accountability. They're missing discipline actually. And support. So it's almost like, I guess where I'm going is like the product almost becomes secondary to all of the other thing. And you're just like, every now and again, maybe once a day, if you're putting up 5 posts a day, once a day you might say, hey, by the way, we've got this special on bulletproof coffee at the moment, or we've got this special on Kerrygold butter, or we've got this special on blah, 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 MCT oil. You could totally go and, buy it here, but, otherwise just make sure that you implement these pieces of discipline into your world and into your life. Does that make sense? Michelle, that's what I've been doing with the raw truth. Okay, great. 100% agree. Excellent. Yeah, I would focus less on the product and more about the person. Talk to the person. What does this person need to hear today? You could talk about inflammation, from the research that you've done and what you understand. Inflammation is the body's way of reacting and counteracting something that it can't process properly. So for a lot of people, dairy is a problem, and you might find that by doing a 2-week elimination of not drinking coffee with milk, but actually drink bulletproof coffee, that you could find, you might find that the inflammation goes down and you're feeling more energetic because your immune system has a chance to actually breathe and settle the fork down, so that your energy is actually driven to the places like your brain, in order for you to be able to function better. Like your brain fog goes and la la la. Obviously, I've done a little bit of research on this. Hashtag I'm not a health coach, nor am I a nutritionist. I'm not a dietitian. This is the literal things that work for me, right? So that's, and I am not a reseller of bulletproof coffee. I'm just saying. Although it is really good. All right, cool beans. So most of all though, like, I guess the thing that you want to do, whether you're an MLM, whether you're whether it's your own business, whether you're working within an organization, the things that we want to do is establish your own intellectual property around your thinking and your methodology and why it's really important. And that's the thing that's going to sustain you. Versus being reliant on just selling a product that's maybe the fad of the moment, or, convenient for right now, what everybody's talking about. So yeah, that's that. All right, everybody, I'm going to love you and leave you. Have a fabulous and amazing Thursday. If you are in the Southern Hemisphere, if you're in the Northern Hemisphere, have a really amazing evening. Thanks so much for coming and hanging out. I look very much forward to talking with you tomorrow which is Friday, which is our Celebration Friday, coming to you live at 11 a.m. Sydney time, which I think is around 2 a.m. London, and it will be around 6-ish, I think, LA. So have a really fabulous and amazing evening, day, whatever it is that you're doing. And remember, get out there, go help some people, have fun doing it, and most importantly, be visible for all of the right reasons. Take care, everyone. I'll talk to you tomorrow.